In the vast, ever-accelerating current of modern life, pop culture moments are born, blaze brightly, and often, just as swiftly, fade. What was once the pinnacle of cool, the must-have gadget, or the inescapable meme, can, in a surprisingly short span, become a relic, a nostalgic whisper from a bygone era. This phenomenon isn't new, but the digital age has amplified its speed and reach, turning fleeting fads into historical footnotes with unprecedented efficiency. We stand at a unique vantage point, able to look back at the cultural touchstones that shaped our recent past, now firmly entrenched in history. But what qualifies a pop culture moment as history? It's not merely about age. Some events from decades ago remain profoundly relevant, while others from just a few years past feel utterly ancient. History, in this context, is about context. A moment becomes history when its immediate cultural impact has passed, when its presence is no longer pervasive, and when its primary role shifts from present influence to past reference. It's when the mainstream has moved on, leaving behind a fascinating trail for us to re-examine, understand, and perhaps even chuckle at. Before the internet fully colonized our lives, communication felt vastly different. The insistent beep of a pager, often clipped to a belt, was once the ultimate sign of connectivity for many. It was a digital tether in an analog world, a device that promised immediacy, albeit a limited one. For the younger generation, the concept of being reachable only via a numerical code, then having to find a payphone to respond, seems almost impossibly archaic. Yet, in the 1990s, pagers were king, especially in professions demanding constant, though not instant, contact. The pager's reign was undeniably brief, a transitional technology bridging the gap between landlines and cell phones. Its demise was swift, ushered in by the proliferation of affordable mobile phones offering two-way voice communication, then SMS text messaging. Why call from a payphone when you could reply instantly from your pocket? The pager, once a symbol of importance and urgent connection, rapidly became a symbol of obsolescence. Its once ubiquitous presence faded, leaving behind only the faint echo of its distinctive beep, now a sound confined to nostalgic retellings and period films. Speaking of distinctive sounds, few noises are as instantly evocative of a specific technological era as the screech, whistle, and static of a dial-up modem. Before broadband became the standard, this symphony of digital handshakes was the gateway to the internet. Connecting meant waiting, a patience test punctuated by these mechanical cries as your computer negotiated with the phone line. The anticipation, the frustration, and finally, the triumph of hearing the "you are connected" chime, were all part of the daily ritual for early internet users. Dial-up internet wasn't just slow, it also famously tied up your phone line, making simultaneous internet use and phone calls impossible unless you had a second line. This inconvenience, coupled with agonizingly slow download speeds measured in kilobytes per second, made the eventual arrival of broadband a true revolution. DSL and cable modems offered always-on connections and speeds that seemed impossibly fast at the time. The dial-up tone, once a constant presence, quickly receded, becoming a relic of a more patient, less demanding internet age. Its departure marked a pivotal shift. As internet speeds cautiously improved, a new storm brewed. In 1999, a service called Napster burst onto the scene, forever changing how we consumed music. Napster was a peer-to-peer file-sharing platform that allowed users to freely share MP3 files with each other. Suddenly, entire music libraries were just a few clicks away, instantly downloadable without cost. This was an unprecedented democratizing force for music, but it was also a direct assault on the traditional music industry's business model. Artists, labels, and retailers alike were utterly unprepared for the seismic shift. The music industry's response to Napster was swift and aggressive. Led by Metallica and Dr. Dre, a barrage of lawsuits accused Napster of facilitating copyright infringement on a massive scale. The legal battles were intense, pitting innovation against established intellectual property rights. While Napster argued it was merely a search engine, the courts ultimately sided with the record labels, declaring that the service was indeed enabling widespread piracy. This legal precedent, set in the early 2000s, sent shockwaves through the nascent digital landscape. Despite its immense popularity and transformative impact, Napster's legal challenges proved insurmountable. In July 2001, a court order forced Napster to shut down its service. While Napster itself failed, the genie was out of the bottle. Its legacy, though steeped in controversy, demonstrated the immense consumer demand for digital music. It forced the industry to confront a future where physical media was no longer king and gave rise to a wave of other peer-to-peer services like Kazaa and LimeWire, continuing the cat-and-mouse game between piracy and copyright holders. Into this chaotic landscape of illegal downloads and a desperate music industry, Apple, under Steve Jobs, offered a solution: the iPod. Introduced in October 2001, the iPod wasn't the first MP3 player, but it was the first to seamlessly integrate hardware, software, iTunes, and a legitimate online music store. It promised 1,000 songs in your pocket and delivered a sleek, user-friendly experience that made digital music both desirable and accessible, without the legal entanglements of Napster-era piracy. It redefined portable music. The iPod quickly became a cultural icon. Its white earbuds were ubiquitous, a silent signal of belonging to the digital music generation. Each iteration, from the Mini to the Nano to the Touch, expanded its capabilities and appeal. It wasn't just a music player, it was a fashion statement and a testament to elegant industrial design. The click wheel became an intuitive, almost therapeutic, way to navigate thousands of tracks. For over a decade, the iPod dominated the personal music player market, proving that people were willing to pay for digital music if it was offered conveniently and legally. Ironically, the iPod's greatest successor was also its undoing, the iPhone. When the iPhone launched in 2007, it integrated all the iPod's functionalities, and much more, into a single, revolutionary device. Why carry a separate music player when your phone could do it all, plus make calls, browse the web, and run apps? The convenience of an all-in-one device rendered dedicated MP3 players increasingly redundant. Apple formally discontinued the iPod Classic in 2014, signaling the end of an era. The iPod, a titan of its time, had been absorbed into the next wave of innovation. Before streaming services turned our homes into personal cinemas, the Friday night ritual for millions involved a trip to Blockbuster Video. These brightly lit stores, with their towering shelves of VHS tapes and later DVDs, were cultural hubs. Browsing the aisles, debating choices, and occasionally facing the dreaded "new release unavailable" sign was all part of the experience. Blockbuster represented convenience, selection, and a tangible connection to the latest movies. At its peak, it was an undeniable retail giant, a seemingly invincible force in entertainment. However, Blockbuster's business model harbored a critical flaw: late fees. While a lucrative revenue stream, they were also a constant source of consumer frustration. Missing a return date meant a penalty, which could sometimes exceed the rental cost itself. This perceived unfairness began to chip away at customer loyalty, creating an opening for alternative models. It was a seemingly minor detail, but in hindsight, it illustrated a rigidity that would prove fatal in the face of disruptive innovation. The company's reliance on these fees blinded it to changing consumer expectations. In 1997, a small startup named Netflix began offering DVD rentals by mail, free from late fees and with a monthly subscription model. Initially, Blockbuster largely dismissed it as a niche competitor. Famously, Blockbuster even had the chance to buy Netflix for a mere $50 million in 2000, an offer they reportedly laughed out of the room. This monumental miscalculation proved to be a turning point. While Blockbuster clung to its physical stores and late fee revenue, Netflix meticulously built a subscriber base and, crucially, developed its streaming technology. As Netflix pivoted to streaming in 2007, the writing was on the wall for Blockbuster. Their attempt to launch their own streaming service, Blockbuster Total Access, was too little, too late. The convenience of instant, on-demand content from the comfort of one's home simply dwarfed the appeal of a physical rental store. Store closures became rampant, employees were laid off, and the once mighty chain spiraled into bankruptcy by 2010. Today, only one Blockbuster store remains, a nostalgic anomaly in a world utterly dominated by streaming. In the early 2000s, before Facebook became synonymous with social networking, there was MySpace. Launched in 2003, it quickly became the undisputed king of online social platforms. MySpace was a riot of self-expression, allowing users unparalleled customization of their profiles with elaborate backgrounds, embedded music, and personalized layouts coded with HTML. It was a digital playground where bands connected with fans, friends ranked their top 8, and everyone crafted a unique online identity. MySpace was chaotic, vibrant, and incredibly personal, a true cultural phenomenon. The aesthetic of MySpace was distinct, often cluttered, sometimes garish, but always a direct reflection of its user. Embedded music players blared favorite songs, animated GIFs flickered, and lengthy About Me sections offered a glimpse into personalities. It was a space where individuality flourished, a creative sandbox that, in hindsight, feels wonderfully unpolished compared to today's streamlined, algorithm-driven platforms. MySpace truly captured the raw, unbridled spirit of early internet self-expression, fostering subcultures and launching countless music careers. In 2005, MySpace was acquired by Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation for a staggering $580 million, a move that promised even greater expansion. Yet, this acquisition also marked the beginning of its slow decline. Corporate interference, a focus on advertising revenue, and a failure to innovate at the pace of its users led to growing discontent. The platform became bloated and less user-friendly, pushing users to seek alternatives. The once vibrant community began to fray, signaling that even the most dominant platforms are vulnerable to shifting tides and emerging competitors. The primary beneficiary of MySpace's missteps was Facebook. Initially launched in 2004 as a college networking site, Facebook offered a cleaner, more standardized, and less chaotic experience. When it opened to the general public in 2006, its focus on real-name identities and a streamlined interface felt like a mature alternative to MySpace's Wild West. Users migrated en masse, drawn to Facebook's simplicity, its growing network effect, and its promise of a more adult online presence. MySpace's fall was swift, a stark reminder of the brutal competition in the digital realm. Before the rise of mainstream social media, platforms like LiveJournal and Xanga offered spaces for personal online expression. LiveJournal, launched in 1999, was particularly popular for its detailed journaling features, community focus, and strong emphasis on privacy controls. Users shared their daily thoughts, personal struggles, and niche interests, fostering tight-knit online communities. It was a more intimate, reflective space than the sprawling public square that social media would become, allowing for deeper engagement among like-minded individuals, far from the pressures of curated public personas. As social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter gained dominance, the landscape of personal blogging shifted. The immediate gratification of a status update or a short tweet often superseded the commitment required for a lengthy blog post. While LiveJournal and Xanga didn't entirely disappear, their cultural prominence waned. They became niche platforms, serving dedicated communities rather than the broad public. This evolution highlights how different forms of online expression rise and fall, each catering to a specific need until a more efficient or engaging format emerges to capture the collective consciousness. With faster internet and the rise of YouTube, the concept of a viral video truly took hold in the late 2000s and early 2010s. These were clips that, through sheer shareability and often inexplicable appeal, spread like wildfire across the globe. One such phenomenon was the Harlem Shake. What started as a niche dance in Australia exploded into a global meme in early 2013, with countless individuals, organizations, and even military personnel creating their own versions. The formula was simple: a short clip starting with one person dancing, suddenly cutting to a room full of people wildly flailing. The Harlem Shake's dominance was intense but incredibly short-lived. For a few frenzied weeks, it was impossible to avoid. Every news outlet, every social media feed, seemed to feature a new iteration. Yet, by the end of March 2013, the meme had effectively burned itself out. Its rapid ascent and equally rapid decline perfectly illustrate the ephemeral nature of viral content. Once everyone had participated, or at least seen enough versions, the novelty wore off. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated internet fun, but one that quickly became a historical footnote. Predating the Harlem Shake, Psy's Gangnam Style music video exploded in mid-2012, becoming the first YouTube video to ever reach 1 billion views. The infectious K-pop track and its unforgettable horse-riding dance captivated the entire planet. It transcended language barriers, cultural differences, and genre preferences, becoming a truly global phenomenon. From world leaders performing the dance to countless parodies, Gangnam Style wasn't just a hit song, it was a cultural touchstone that demonstrated the immense power of YouTube to launch global sensations and define a moment. While Gangnam Style continued to rack up views long after its initial peak, its immediate cultural ubiquity eventually faded. The dance moves, once performed by everyone from Barack Obama to your grandma, became less common. Yet, its legacy is undeniable. It paved the way for future K-pop acts to gain international recognition and demonstrated the viral potential of music in the digital age. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated global joy, a shared experience that for a brief period, united a disparate world under the banner of a goofy, catchy tune. Its impact on how we measure online success endures. In 2013, Twitter launched Vine, a groundbreaking platform for short-form video. Limiting users to just 6 seconds, Vine fostered a unique brand of creativity, forcing creators to be incredibly concise, clever, and often absurd. It became a breeding ground for viral memes, catchphrases, and a new generation of internet celebrities. Vines were looping, easily shareable, and perfect for quick, digestible entertainment. Its innovative format anticipated the rise of even shorter video content, proving that brevity could indeed be the soul of wit in the digital age. Despite its cultural impact and immense popularity, Vine's journey was short-lived. Twitter struggled to monetize the platform effectively, faced stiff competition from Instagram Video and Snapchat, and failed to adequately support its creator community. In October 2016, Twitter announced it would be discontinuing the Vine mobile app. The news was met with widespread lamentation from its dedicated users and creators. Vine's shutdown in early 2017 left a void, but its influence on short-form content and internet humor remains palpable, a direct precursor to the platforms that dominate today. In March 2012, a 30-minute documentary-style video titled Kony 2012 went viral, aiming to make Joseph Kony, the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, LRA, in Uganda, famous enough to be arrested. Produced by the organization Invisible Children, the video garnered over 100 million views in days, creating an unprecedented wave of online activism. Millions around the world rallied behind the cause, donating money, sharing the video, and participating in awareness campaigns. It was a powerful demonstration of the internet's ability to mobilize global attention around a humanitarian crisis. However, the meteoric rise of Kony 2012 was swiftly followed by a dramatic backlash. Critics questioned Invisible Children's financial transparency, its simplistic portrayal of a complex conflict, and the effectiveness of raising awareness as a solution. Accusations of white saviorism and a lack of local context further fueled the controversy. The intense scrutiny led to the public breakdown of one of the film's co-founders, Jason Russell, effectively ending the campaign's momentum. Kony 2012 became a cautionary tale about the perils of viral activism, demonstrating its power but also its fragility and potential for unintended consequences. In July 2016, a mobile game called Pokémon Go launched, sparking a global frenzy unlike anything seen before. Utilizing augmented reality, the game overlaid Pokémon characters onto the real world, prompting millions to leave their homes, explore their neighborhoods, and gather in public spaces to catch 'em all. It broke records for app downloads and engagement, creating a unique blend of virtual gaming and real-world exploration. For a glorious summer, parks, landmarks, and even mundane street corners became vibrant hubs of collective activity, all united by a shared digital quest. While Pokémon Go remains popular with a dedicated player base, the intense, widespread cultural phenomenon of its initial launch quickly subsided. The massive crowds dwindled, the news cycles moved on, and the collective global obsession faded into a more sustainable, but less ubiquitous, gaming presence. Its rapid post-peak decline demonstrates how even the most explosive pop culture moments often return to a more normalized level of engagement. Yet, it left an indelible mark, proving the mainstream appeal of augmented reality and inspiring a new generation of location-based mobile gaming. To understand the fleeting nature of fads, we can look back further than the digital age to the Beanie Babies phenomenon of the late 1990s. These small, bean-filled plush toys, released by Ty Incorporated, became an improbable collectible craze. Fueled by artificial scarcity, limited editions, and the promise of astronomical resale values, people hoarded them, treating them as serious investments. News articles documented bidding wars, long queues outside toy stores, and even tragic incidents related to the frenzy. For a brief period, these unassuming plush toys became a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like all speculative bubbles, the Beanie Babies market eventually collapsed. The promised retirement of certain characters, which drove up perceived rarity, proved to be an unsustainable strategy. As Ty Incorporated flooded the market with new designs and collectors realized the resale values were largely fictional, the frenzy evaporated. Millions of investments became mere plush toys. The Beanie Babies saga serves as a timeless reminder of how collective hype and perceived scarcity can inflate the value of consumer goods, only for economic reality to eventually, and often painfully, reassert itself. Technological advancements also create their own ephemeral pop culture moments. The early 2010s saw a massive push for 3D TV. Propelled by the success of movies like Avatar, manufacturers invested heavily, promising an immersive viewing experience that would revolutionize home entertainment. Major brands like Samsung, LG, and Sony all released lines of 3D-capable televisions, often requiring expensive active or passive glasses. For a brief period, watching a 3D movie at home felt like stepping into the future, a glimpse of cinematic innovation brought into the living room. Despite the initial hype and significant investment, 3D TV never truly took off with consumers. The need for special glasses was cumbersome, content was often limited, and many found the technology caused eye strain or simply didn't add enough value to justify the cost. By the mid-2010s, manufacturers began phasing out 3D features, shifting focus to 4K and later 8K resolutions. What was once heralded as the next big thing quickly became a forgotten feature, a technological dead end that stands as a stark reminder that not every innovation is destined for widespread adoption. Fast forward to the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. As much of the world entered lockdown, a bizarre, captivating, and utterly unforgettable docuseries called Tiger King: Murder, Mayhem and Madness dropped on Netflix. Its cast of eccentric characters, particularly the mullet-wearing, gun-toting big cat owner Joe Exotic, and his arch-nemesis Carol Baskin, captivated a global audience desperate for distraction. For weeks, Tiger King dominated conversations, memes, and news cycles, becoming the undisputed cultural touchstone of a surreal and uncertain time. While Tiger King undeniably defined a very specific moment in time, its pervasive cultural presence was remarkably brief. Once lockdowns eased and other distractions emerged, the fascination waned. The endless debates about whether Carol Baskin did it, the elaborate theories, and the sheer absurdity of the characters, all faded from the forefront of public consciousness. It now stands as a vivid, slightly embarrassing, snapshot of early pandemic life. Tiger King perfectly encapsulates how hyperspecific, intense viral moments can capture collective attention, only to quickly recede as the world moves on. Looking at these diverse pop culture moments, from pagers to Vine to Tiger King, a clear pattern emerges: the cycle of rise and fall is accelerating. The internet, social media, and algorithmic feeds have made it easier than ever for ideas, trends, and content to achieve global reach in days, but also to disappear from relevance just as quickly. The attention economy is a voracious beast, constantly demanding novelty, pushing yesterday's sensation into today's history books with ruthless efficiency. We are living in an era of hyperspeed cultural turnover. Yet, even as moments become history, they never truly vanish. They simply transition into a new phase: nostalgia. The wistful longing for simpler times, for the technologies and trends that defined our youth, is a powerful force. This collective memory fuels countless throwback trends, retro reboots, and online communities dedicated to preserving the echoes of the past. From the pixelated graphics of old video games to the fashions of yesteryear, what was once current becomes cherished, a comforting reminder of where we've come from and how much has changed. What pop culture moments are being made history right now? What fleeting fads of today will be the nostalgic footnotes of tomorrow? Perhaps the latest TikTok dance, a seemingly indispensable app, or a groundbreaking AI tool. The constant evolution means we're always living through a unique intersection of the past, present, and future. Every scroll, every click, every shared meme is contributing to the ever-expanding archive of pop culture history. And as we continue to innovate, consume, and connect, the conveyor belt of cultural moments will keep moving, ceaselessly defining and redefining our shared experience. Ultimately, the story of pop culture moments becoming history is a story of change. It's about how technology evolves, how consumer tastes shift, and how the human need for connection and entertainment adapts to new landscapes. From the clunky mechanics of a dial-up modem to the sophisticated algorithms of today's streaming platforms, each moment, however brief, leaves an imprint. They remind us that nothing truly lasts forever, and that the only constant in our dynamic world is the thrill of discovery, the shared experience of a cultural moment, and the inevitable, fascinating march of time,